It's the kind of thing that would make your financial advisor gasp, dipping into your RRSPs before retirement. But with so many Albertans struggling to make ends meet, there's no doubt some folks are having to do just that to pay the bills. Our money columnist Christine Wiley is here to explain how that will affect their bottom line and maybe to suggest some better options. So Christine, thanks a lot for being here tonight. Important issue. What are the short-term implications of dipping into those RRSPs early?
So up front is the tax implications. Of course, as soon as you pull money out of your RRSP prior to retirement, you've got that withholding tax. So on amounts of $5,000 or less, it's 10%. And then from $5,000 to $15,000 of withdrawal, it jumps to 20%. And then up to 30% for amounts over the $15,000. So in essence, if you had a $10,000 amount that you wanted to pay off, you would have to actually pull out $12,500 in order to, net $10,000 after tax. So it's not only the tax that they are going to have as withholding tax, you have to also include that amount in your income at the end of the year. And that withholding tax may not even be enough. It depends on your tax bracket.
And that's just the short term.
That's the short term, right?
The double whammy just from short term.
That's right.
What about the long term?
So long term impacts, of course, you've got your RRSP contribution room that you're not going to be able to get back. It's not going to be maybe as much of an issue if you're in your 20s and still have lots of earning years ahead of you, but if you're in your 50s, more of an impact. But the biggest thing is going to be like the erosion away from your nest egg in the future. Even an amount as $25,000, if you had to pull that out in order to pay something off over a 5-year window, you could be looking at an opportunity cost of around $40,000. So it does add up quite a lot.
If someone's already done this, how do you get back to where you were?
Okay, well, getting back is, of course, looking at where you are overall in terms of your RRSPs, your contributions. You've got your plan, hopefully, and trying to get back on track with the RRSP contributions. But if we're strictly looking at it as a way to pay down debt, and instead of dipping into your RRSPs, there are some alternatives, that you can look at. And those alternatives are looking at TFSA. If you've got a TFSA, if you've got your emergency savings.
What's a TFSA?
A tax-free savings account.
Okay.
Okay, so looking at that as a first opportunity. Perhaps you've got some high-interest consumer debt, so you may want to look at a consolidation loan, lower the interest, lower the amount of the payments that are going out. Perhaps a line of credit with a low interest, or refinancing a mortgage. Maybe some of your investments are in non-registered investments, and so the tax hit on those will be a lot less also. Perhaps you're eligible for CPP, and looking at that, taking it at an earlier age, earlier than 65, could put a few extra bucks into your monthly budget, and that could certainly help.
The list you're giving me is basically avoid going into these registered retirement savings plan. Yeah. Is there any circumstance in which it is okay to dip in and then sort of pay it back quickly?
Certainly there's the government approved program. So if you're a first-time home buyer, if you've got a learning program, the lifelong learning program, and then you're allowed to make withdrawals for these purposes, and then there's a plan of getting back and paying them back over a period of 10 or 15 years, depending on the plan.
More importantly, go see Christine or other financial advisor to help you wade through this.
Always a good idea.
Okay, that is it for us tonight.